All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon. Bob Spitz here with Management Success. So glad that you could join us. We've got a fun presentation going on here. It's all about how to market your truck shop. This is going to be the first in a series of three. What you're going to be actually watching is what myself, David Saline, Eddie Lawrence, and Dave Bloom did in Vegas at the Napa Expo. I've taken that presentation, which was obviously live in front of about 300 shop owners, and I've busted it into a series of three because there's no way I'm going to keep you on for 90 minutes. So we're going to do this in three segments here, and it is all about marketing your truck shop. I hope it's good wherever you are, and I'm looking out the window here, and it's nice and sunny and a little breeze, typical Southern California day. We've got a number of people who registered for this. They're not on yet. I'll give them a moment. I'll just kibitz here just a little bit and give them a chance to jump on, but I'm not going to wait too long. We'll record this, and they can always catch the recording of it later. You know, it's interesting. Marketing a truck shop is a different kind of animal than marketing an auto care center. Now, needless to say, at Management Success, we've got a lot of experience in both. In our 22-year existence, we have always worked with truck shops besides car centers, auto care centers. We've also have always done collision, and we know the differences between these different segments of the automotive industry. And truck is definitely a unique beast, and you've got to know how to do that. And my goal here is to give you some tips and some ideas that you can immediately start applying to improve upon this vital area of your business. So we're going to get this thing going. Once again, as I said, those who are not on yet, they can either catch up with us or they can catch the recording. I don't want to hang you up. You were good enough to be on time. So we're going to get this show on the road. Let me get the next screen up here. For those of you who don't know us, we were established in 1993 with a single purpose, and that's to help the independent shop owner make some money. We do this through our seminars, through our workshops, our consulting and our coaching. We have the MS conventions, and we build custom websites for our clients. We have a number of different avenues that help us achieve our purpose. I've been with Management Success for 21 of those 22 years. In fact, I just celebrated my 21st anniversary June 10th with the company. It's hard to believe it's been 21 years. And, you know, time's one of those funny things. One way you look at it is like, my gosh, that was just a snap of the finger. And another way you look at it and go, wow, that's been a long time. But it's been wonderful to watch the changes in the industry. If there's one thing that's true about the automotive industry, and that is it is constantly changing. And marketing is by no means been slow to change. It's been changing rapidly ever since we started. And, of course, with the Internet, it's made the changes even quicker. Now, to help me and to keep me real in our presentation, I've invited David Saline from Second to None to help me out here and to give his points of view on how he markets his truck shops. And David, would you introduce yourself to the audience?
Hello, everybody. I'm David Saline. I own Second to None Service in New Mexico. We have two shops, one in Albuquerque, one in Moriarty, and we have been in a growth mode since I started with Management Success about 4 years ago.
Great. And what kind of, now, when you first met us, you just had the one shop, right?
Yeah, when I first started with Management Success, I had one shop, was doing about $40,000 a month in sales. Now we have two shops that are doing about 200, and hopefully this month pushing up close to 250 in sales.
Nice. Now, what kind of work do you do in the Moriarty shop, which is your first location?
Okay. The Moriarty shop, we do just about everything. We do anything from general repair, big truck, farm equipment, off-highway equipment. The majority of it is big truck. 80% of it's big truck.
Mm-hmm. Fleets?
We have a few fleets in Moriarty. Our Albuquerque shop is more fleet-driven.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I would say it's probably 60% fleet and then 40% over the road.
So you're practicing many different marketing techniques between your two locations.
Yes, we have, marketing the Moriarty shop is a little different from the Albuquerque shop, but there's tons of different strategies we have working for us.
Fantastic. And David's going to be kind enough to share some of those strategies with us. So let's move on here. First, let's talk about marketing versus sales, because I've talked to too many small business people who don't know the difference between the two, and not just small business people. I've talked to students who are in marketing programs. One came to mind. I was flying for management success, going somewhere, I don't remember where, but sitting next to me was a fourth-year marketing student from the University of Texas, and I asked him, what's the difference between marketing and sales? And he really couldn't give me a comprehensive answer, and I realized that it is a confused area. Well, marketing, if you think of it this way, marketing creates interest. Marketing gets the phone to ring, and marketing smooths the path for sales. It comes from the idea of market, going to the market and demonstrating or putting out in the market your material, your goods, your ware, whatever you're selling, your produce. And the demonstration or the display of that is also known as merchandising, which is part of marketing. And that is getting people interested in what you have. Once someone walks up and says, wow, that's a pretty good looking thing, produce, whatever it is, how much? Well, marketing's done its job. Now sales takes over. So don't confuse the two. Marketing creates the interest. Sales gets the agreement to buy. And that's the difference between them. Sales is all about agreements, getting agreements for people to buy. And you've got to be strong on both parts. I've seen wonderful marketing go to waste because no one could sell. I've seen sales just crippled by a lack of a good marketing effort in a shop. So just know that you have to have the two, and they work in harmony. In an overall marketing strategy, a marketing plan, sales is part of it in an overall marketing plan. So just know that, but they are two different things, and you got to measure them separately. There's different KPIs, different statistics that you need to watch when you are managing these two areas of your business. All right, now let's get that out of the way. What we're going to be talking about and points to consider when you're thinking about a campaign, a marketing campaign, is what's the budget for the campaign, or your entire marketing plan, what's your budget? Building your brand, traditional, also known as print media versus e-marketing. Is this going to be a local campaign? Is it going to be a national fleet campaign? How does outside sales fit into the overall campaign? And how do I work my referrals and my networks? All of these things have got to be considered when you're launching a campaign or you're launching a marketing plan. So what we're going to get to today are really just the top two, the budgets and building your brand. Then the next one, which will be in 2 weeks, we'll take up print media versus e-marketing and local campaigns and outside sales. And then the last one, which will be 2 weeks after that, sometime in the middle of July, we'll be looking at national fleet campaigns and referrals and networks. All right, let's talk about budgets. A rule of thumb is you have got to allocate somewhere between 5 and 8% of your gross sales for your marketing effort. Now, when you're dealing with truck and you're dealing with the different phenomena of a truck shop, it's a little bit different than a car shop. And part of that is because of all of your outside sales efforts and all of the PR that you've also got to do in a truck shop. David, how do you approach your allocation or your budgeting of money towards your marketing?
Okay. Well, there's a, we probably do a little more than 5 to 8% on marketing, but that's including our outside sales. We count his wages as marketing expense.
Right, and that's pretty common in the truck industry, that the outside salesperson is considered a marketing expense, and that's not wrong. You can absolutely do that. Now, the other thing to consider is your time as an owner. Isn't it true, David, that you've got to put your time into this?
Yeah, well, and with ours, I don't ever count my time to it. If we did, that number would probably be really high, what we're doing on marketing, but that's the area that we like to do. We like to work on our marketing and everything else. That's the one area of the shop that I still have a lot of control over.
Right. I think maybe, and I get that. I think what I'm more aiming at is marketing, and correct me if I'm wrong, David, marketing is vital to your business. Am I right?
Oh, yeah. It's one of the, on a truck shop, marketing is what drives everything into your door over here. And like I said, that's where I spend a lot of my time. I probably don't, some shop owners I know, Dave Bloom counts it in his time into his marketing expense.
Right.
I don't count my time, but there's still a lot of it there. If I did, it'd drive our budget up quite a bit.
Yeah, and you really, yeah, and I know David does it, and that's unique to David. But when I'm talking about not dollar-wise considerations on a marketing budget, just owner time-wise, the importance of making sure you as an owner have time to plan out your marketing and control your marketing is vital.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time doing that. Every day there's something to do with our marketing that I spend a lot of time on. I can't give you the exact hours, but it's hours during each day that I'm working on new campaigns, new sales flyers for our outside salesmen, maybe even visiting our customers with the outside salesmen.
Right. So if a truck shop owner's attention is too riveted into the production area of his business, he's going to be in trouble, isn't he?
Yeah, if you can't take the time to spend with your customers and work on your marketing and everything, and if you're working on the floor or even in the service desk, you're missing out on a lot of potential out there that you could be driving into your shop.
Right. So not only do you need to budget dollars for your marketing efforts, you've got to budget your time as an owner and put a fair amount of it into this effort if you want your business to grow.
Yes, that's correct.
Right. Good. So make sure that you as owners or even managers are putting the time that you need into your marketing effort. Otherwise, you won't grow. There's just no way to do it. All right. I've got some polling questions here that I'm going to ask, and I'm going to start right here with this one. So let me open up my polling questions and select a poll. And this one is, do you have a budget for your marketing? And I'm going to launch this right now. Pretty simple. It's either a yes or a no. Okay, I'll leave the poll open another 5 seconds here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let me close this poll and share the results. All right, you see the results, David?
I see the results.
So what would you say to the folks that do not have an established budget for their marketing?
I would say I would sit down and start working out a budget plan to include marketing.
Good, because money is like time. If it's not allocated, it just goes away. And
it kind of goes back to the old saying, you got to spend a little money sometimes to make money. And this is one area you don't want to not spend money and to make money.
Right. Now, if any of the audience would like to talk to you privately about this, can they give you a call, David?
Sure.
And what number should they reach you at?
Probably the best number is my cell phone, and that is 505-440-5034.
Great. So if you'd like to ask David about how he goes about establishing his budget, give him a holler, and I'm sure he'll be willing to help. All right, let me hide this poll here, and let's move forward. The next thing we want to talk about is branding, building your brand. Branding is more than just a logo. Branding is when someone sees you, they see your shop, they see your image that you're putting out there, something comes to mind. It might be good, it might be bad, but something's going to come to mind. So traditionally, companies like to tell consumers what they should think about a company. We've always done it that way. We aim to drive into the customer's mind what they should think about the company, right? Quality is job one, solid as a rock, number one, just on and on and on. What's interesting, and a big change in marketing over the last couple of years, is with the explosion of social media, and truck shops are they're not immune to this. They're not exempt from this. Consumers are now driving our image or driving our message, our slogan, because if they're happy, they're going to talk about their experience with it and what they think of your company. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't put out and put forth what you think consumers should think about your company. We want you to do that. So we want you to have a strong logo. We want you to have a good slogan, a good message that you want to get out to your customers. And then you want to position that logo and that slogan on everything. Your letterhead, your invoices, your business cards, your building, your website, your uniforms, your T-shirts. It's everywhere. So that when someone sees that image, they get an instant impression in their mind about who you are and what you stand for. This is not a fast process. This is a building process. It's a positioning process that takes a while to get people to have top-of-the-mind awareness of you and what you mean and what you stand for. Now, I'm going to look at some traditional truck-type logos here. And when people see these, something comes to mind. Isn't that right, David?
Yes.
You know, traditionally, Peterbilt came to mind. It was like the Cadillac of trucks. Mack, it was tough, low RPM, but, you know, very toughly built. I don't know if that's true, but that was what they put out there. Kenworth like to say they're number one, you know, another Cadillac of trucks. Detroit Diesels, it's all about performance, right? And so when you see these, especially that Bulldog, boy, something comes to mind. Something comes to mind when you look at any of these images. Isn't that right, David?
Yeah, it's their branding on it. They've taken years to do this, but when you see one of these emblems, you know exactly what it represents.
Right. Well, you want to do the same thing with your shop and your business. You want to have an image, and that image means something to the consumer. It means something to all those truckers. It means things to those fleet managers. They see that image. We want it obviously to be positive, a positive experience and a positive idea about who you are. Now, building that brand, once again, is not an overnight affair. It needs to be thought out. It's something you should work out with a consultant as far as colors are concerned, images are concerned. There's a whole technology behind it. It has to do with surveying and surveying people to get that right image so that when people see it, they think highly of it, they like it. It's something that does not repel them. It's something that attracts them. Now, if you are, and once again, I did this whole presentation at the Napa convention. So one of the things that was there at that convention was Napa had their whole pro imaging team there who can help if you're what's called a Napa truck service center, which David is, you can elicit their help for co-branding purposes. Now, one of the things that you have to watch out for, of course, with something that's so powerful and so big as like Napa, is that your own image is not lost in it. right? But they can help you a lot. They can help you with this. Remember, they've spent a lot of money to make that symbol and those colors known nationwide. And here's an example of what I'm talking about. This is a fairly good-looking truck shop, and the name of the shop is not, it's over there, it's Carolina Truck or whatever, but you can see we also have Fuso there, and I guess they're a Fuso dealer or they're an authorized repair center. But now this shop worked with Napa, and they have a whole different image now. Just things like that gives instant recognition. It's actually more attractive, and they can help you with that. But making sure your building matches your truck, matches your uniforms, matches everything, it's really important. It really is very, very important in professionalism and the growth of your business. All right. I've got another polling question here for you. Let me open it up. Do you have a unified image and a slogan or a message? Give it another 5 seconds here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let me close the poll and let me share the results. Well, we're split right down the middle, David.
That's 50-50,
huh? Yep. So any advice to those who don't have a unified image yet or have worked out a message, a slogan?
I would definitely sit down and spend some time looking on that image and the slogan and what you want to portray to your customers, and then I would make sure it's on everything you produce in your marketing lines, the websites, your letterhead, your ROs, your uniforms, just like you're talking there, because it's being recognized. When somebody sees your slogan or your branding information, all that stuff, your image of your company, they know exactly what it is right away.
Right. Now, what would you advise, guys, as far as, because you've done a lot of work with MS on marketing, getting educated in the area of marketing, what would you suggest to them as far as surveying it? Because if you can, you don't live in a bubble, you don't live in an ivory tower. You can come up with something that you think is really cool or really good, and it could miss the mark, couldn't it, David?
Yeah, you could. And it's when we worked with our symbol for our company and everything, we actually talked to our customers and showed it to them. We never put it on anything officially until we got a positive response back before it. And then, with all that, with the surveying and everything, your customers are the best ones. Leave it at your service desk when they're checking out and say, hey, what do you think of this?
Right. Absolutely. Get your customers' input on it, because remember, you're not the customer.
Octavio, you have a phone call? Octavio, you have a phone call?
I guess Octavio's got a phone call. Forgot to mute my phone. All right, let's hide this and let's move forward. Now, a big place that your branding is vitally important is on your website. You don't want to be penny wise and dollar foolish with your website. Guys have been in business a long time. They remember how much they spent on Yellow Page ads, and they're so happy that they didn't have to really spend that anymore because Yellow Pages is really dead. It's a dead publication. But don't just put that money in your pocket. Reallocate those funds into modern-day Yellow Pages, which is the Internet. The Internet is the directory. The Internet is where everybody goes. It's got to be professional. Once again, don't be penny wise and dollar foolish. Get a good site built. And it's got to be responsive. And what I mean by that is your site has got to be able to be picked up on any kind of device the person might have. And most drivers are using their phones, aren't they, David?
Yeah, the big thing on it is it's got to be mobile responsive. Phones and iPads are the number one driver or drives for over-the-road guys and coming into our shop. They don't anymore. They look right to Google the minute they break down. This is what's wrong with my truck. This is what I need repaired. So you got to have the proper keywords. You got to have the proper. It's got to be responsive so a cell phone and mobile devices can read it.
Right. And here's an example of what we're talking about. Now, this is David's site. You can go online and check this out. David has put a lot of work into this, and it's a beautiful site. This is a still shot of it. I do invite you to just Google second to none service, and it will come up. David, how important is this site to your business and your marketing strategy?
It's probably one of the number one drivers into our business. We check with every customer how they heard about us, and a lot of them that are new customers are brought in by our websites.
Right. You know what I've always loved about this particular shot that you have here? It kind of looks like the truck is pulling your shop. So we're in motion here. But that's a great site. And once again, go ahead and Google that, and you can look at David's site. Another great site is Eddie Lawrence's MTR, and his message is right there. MTR is a pit crew of fleet repair, and that is a surveyed button of his customers. That's what they want, speed, and when he asks them what equals speed, pit crew members, and so bam, there it is, right? And that works really well for Eddie. I know that site is producing good results for him. And then the other one, another example here is Pioneer, David Bloom's site. Now, David's a little different because he also does vehicle sales. He sells trucks. And I know that he gets a lot of work off of this site. All three of these sites are professionally built and professionally maintained. They're spending the money that it takes to do that, and it's still way less than Yellow Page ads ever were. So make sure that you've got a good site. All right. Oh, I've got another polling question here. Let's open up this poll. And that is your website responsive, meaning does it look good when I pull it up on an iPhone or an iPad? Is everything in proportion? Does it look right?
May take a few more minutes for people to look on their cell phones for this question, Bob.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good way to find out. Just pull up your site on your phone and see what it looks like. All right, I'm going to give it another 5 seconds here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's close this, and I'll share the results. Okay, good. The majority of you know that your sites are responsive. 29% no, 14% not sure. One of the services we provide here at MS is a free evaluation of your website. Give us a call, and we'll take a look at it for you, give you some tips on that. We'll do that for you because we do build very good websites. David, yours is an MS website, isn't it?
Yes, and just talking about how good they are and everything, I was talking to Bob earlier about this. We just went into the transportation refrigeration business as of basically Saturday, but Monday we had them update our website on it, and we went from non-existence, meaning that we weren't on the web for any of those services, to the second page of Google in 2 days.
Wow. It's amazing how fast that happens with internet marketing. Those kind of, those are it's like science fiction what's going on, the speed in which these things happen. So that's great. So absolutely make sure you've got a great site built right. Most shop owners don't have time to maintain their own sites. get a company that does SEO service to make sure SEO meaning search engine optimization, that your site is optimized right, that works with you to keep that site maintained. You know, you can't. A website is not a put it up and forget it. It's not. You can't. It's alive. It's active. It's not like a yellow page. A yellow page, we used to just put it in there, and it was the same. It's all it was going to be for the year until we renewed the ad. Website, it's ongoing. It's constantly changing, updating. If you're not doing that, then you're going to drop in Google rankings and ratings, and you don't need that. You want to position yourself very well with your website. All right, let me move forward here. Okay, so that is what we're covering today. Next one, which will be on July 1st, we're going to talk about local campaigns, print media versus e-marketing, how to use a press book. We're going to talk about press books, which are an absolute dynamite tool for anybody who's doing outside sales, and how to conduct your outside sales. Now, when I end off on this webinar, there's going to be a survey that pops up. When you close out, please wait a second. Please, please, please. That's 3 pleases. Fill out the survey for me so my marketing people do not chase me around the building yelling at me that I didn't get the surveys filled out. David, I want to thank you for your time and your input and your expertise. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. I wish you nothing but success out there, and have yourselves a great night. Thanks, Dave.
Okay, thank you, Bob, and thank you, everybody, for listening in on us.
All right. Have a great night, folks. Bye-bye.